Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Martin. Because of our desert climate, we're able to grow plants in a vegetable garden throughout the year. In this video, I'll talk to you about our desert climate and how the seasons of year affect our vegetable garden activities, including what types of plants we're able to grow at the different times of year. Now, successful gardening in the Arizona desert begins by understanding and working with the natural rhythms of our climate. From May until September, our desert weather is warm. Okay, I know, it's ridiculously hot. Some gardeners refer to this time of year as our warm season. But after living and gardening in Phoenix for more than a quarter of a century, I disaffectionately call it our season of misery. However, in stark contrast, from October through the winter until April, our desert weather is just flat out wonderful. It's pleasant for both people and plants alike. Gardeners call this our cool season. This is the time of year when working outdoors in a vegetable garden is most pleasant and rewarding. If you live in the desert Southwest and love gardening like I do, then having a cool season garden is, in my opinion, an absolute must. You know, I kind of think that the Garden of Eden must have been a cool season desert garden. Our cool season begins around early October, when nighttime temperatures consistently drop to 65 degrees Fahrenheit or below, and daytime temperatures stay below 95 degrees Fahrenheit. These cooler months usually last until sometime in mid-April, when the nighttime temperatures and the daytime temperatures rise above that 65 degree Fahrenheit, 95 degree Fahrenheit night-day threshold. At this point in mid-April, successful cool season gardening in our desert region is over. Take-home message number one is this: if you're endeavoring to have a successful cool season vegetable garden, then you must plan and be prepared to install your garden during the early fall. This is very important to know when selecting vegetable or herb plants for a cool season garden. The plants we elect to grow in a cool season garden must be able to thrive not only throughout the cooler months, but they also need to have enough time during these cooler months to grow to the point of harvest. The variety of cool season vegetables and herbs that we can grow in the desert Southwest is really extensive. Some popular choices for a Phoenix cool season garden include lettuce, carrots, my favorite, broccoli, peas, and onions. Herbs such as parsley, cilantro, and sage add texture, color, and a nice scent to any cool season garden. Some cool season edibles grow quickly to harvest after planting, such as lettuce and radish. Now these fast growers are ready to harvest in just a few short weeks after planting. Because of their short time to maturity, it's possible to sow and harvest several crops of these kind of plants during our long, cool growing season. Other cool season edibles such as broccoli and onions take their time to produce a harvest. These more slow and pokey growing plants should be planted one time during the first 2 weeks of October. Folks, now I want to share a few thoughts about vegetable and herb gardening during our warm season of misery. As we all know, our hot desert weather begins in earnest in May and lasts through the end of September. During May and June, the desert air is seasonally bone dry. The low humidity at this time of year allows air temperatures at night to typically fall below 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, June is typically our hottest and driest month of the year. Our monsoon weather usually kicks in late June or early July and lasts until the end of August or early September. During the monsoon season, the desert air is way more humid. This high humidity lowers the capacity of air to cool at night. So during our monsoon weather, our nighttime temperatures often hover at or above 90 degrees. It's these hot monsoon nights that are the root of so many failed summer gardens in Phoenix. Many summer garden veggies such as tomato and squash that once grew so vigorously and produced so abundantly during May and June seem to entirely stop producing fruit by mid-July because of the hot, muggy nights. The reality of misery gardening is this. Though the warm season runs from May until September, warm season vegetables in the desert typically produce most abundantly during the months of May and June. Keeping the plants alive during July and August usually requires special precautions, such as covering the garden with shade cloth and applying heavy irrigation. Some experienced desert gardeners may opt to plant warm season vegetable gardens in late February to early March, as soon as the danger of winter frost has passed. This early season planting practice requires that cold-sensitive plants be protected. This gives warm season vegetables a jump start so that you can harvest early summer produce during May and June. Other avid summer season gardeners may plant a garden of tomato and pepper transplants during late August in hopes of an early fall harvest before the cool weather of late November arrives. Since all of the months during our warm season are hot, it's important to select vegetables and herbs that can tolerate and flourish under the extreme desert heat and intense sun. Warm season vegetable and herb choices are vastly different from those that grow during the cool season. Besides tomato, other popular warm season edible plants include squash, watermelon, peppers of all kinds, cucumbers, and eggplant. Herbs like basil and chives are excellent warm season flavor producers, especially during May and June. One way to help you determine whether an edible plant is best for a cool season versus a warm season garden is to think about what part of the plant that you are harvesting to eat. Now here's a general rule of thumb. The parts of the plant that are grown and harvested for their roots, leaves, stems, and flowers are generally cool season plants. Think of veggies like carrots, lettuce, onions, and broccoli. Warm season veggies are grown for their fruits. Familiar vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, and eggplant are botanically fruits. The only edible portion of the plant is the fruit which we harvest. In this video, I've talked to you about our desert climate and how the time of year affects our vegetable gardening activities, including what types of plants we're able to grow during the different times of year. Fledgling and veteran gardeners alike find that growing a cool season garden is a very rewarding experience. The weather at that time of year is so conducive to working outdoors, plus there's so many different vegetable types that one can grow fast and harvest quickly. Growing a warm season vegetable garden in our desert climate is, however, it's a real challenge. Even some veteran gardeners like moi struggle to justify the high amounts of water used to irrigate a hot summer garden for the relatively small harvest yields that one usually gets for such a short period of time. So remember, when planning your vegetable garden, first understand the conditions of the growing seasons and then select the proper plants for that specific season. These are the first two important steps to a successful desert vegetable garden.